texture.
Yeah, it is. It's like we're debating here whether it's more like Elliott Smith or Connor Oberst to design the opening credits. I think Connor Oberst, just because it's more upbeat.
He is happier.
He's
a
happy.
happier guy.
Generally happier guy. So welcome to another edition of This Week in Twitter. Delighted, as always, to have Mike Bracco on the news
everyone.
with us.
Hello.
Alana Joy, my lovely new co-host. Guest on last week's show, co-host now.
Yay.
Moving up.
That's a vote of confidence
Moving
right
up
there.
the world.
Yeah, so welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us every week. And I'm going to introduce now the guest who will be with us today for the whole show, writer and founder of The Daily Love, a website, email newsletter, and Twitter account that posts inspirational morsels from all kinds of sources. Some contemporary, some old quotes, all sorts of places.
Yes, sir.
Also the co-founder of the Love Yourself Company, which we're going to have to talk about. It's a great choice for a name, much better than the Fuck Off and Die Corp,
Well,
which would
we
have been my
actually started
suggestion.
one of those in New York as a nemesis.
Really? Yeah.
So every superhero needs a nemesis.
Right. It's just, thinking of names, I think that's probably a better one. He also posts regularly on Huffington Post and to his blog, Mastin Kipp, at blog.blogspot.com, where a typical post could include insights like, living in fear is so last season, and the universe, by its very nature, wants you to succeed. Please join me in welcoming Mastin Kipp. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, guys. How's it
Lots to
going?
talk about on the show today. I don't want to start off on a combative note, but I
Please
gotta
do.
say, the universe, by its very nature, wants you to succeed. Isn't the universe really cold and indifferent?
Absolutely not. The universe, as far as everything I post is what I believe, and it's
Okay.
up for debate.
Right.
My experience has been that for the most part, the universe is neutral, is a neutral place. And if you look around at nature, there is success happening everywhere. Grass grows between the concrete, and the sun is shining, and this is a system that's set up to survive. And the problem is not the universe, the problem is our mind and our thinking and how we project into it. It's like a blank canvas. And a canvas wants to be painted on, but it's up to you what you want to paint on it. And I think everything is set up for survival and thriving, but the human mind gets in the way for many, many reasons.
We're holding ourselves back from the success the universe sort of wants us
I
to
think
have.
it's set up. It's all set up. You know, it's like everyone's focused. When people are focused on lack, that's the time to act, because everyone is like over here. And if you can, it's like I think it was Warren Buffett that said, he sells when everyone buys and buys when everyone sells. He's operating by that same principle.
So it's interesting that we would bring a conversation about the nature of the universe back to Warren Buffett so quickly. Usually that takes about 15, 20 minutes. So well done. And we'll get more into stuff like that. It is a Twitter show, so we'll get
Let's
a little
do it.
Twitter. We'll get a little Twitter in first. We are going to start doing a new segment, Tool of the Week.
Tool of the
Mike,
Week.
you've prepared a tool this
do
week,
have a
and it's
tool.
not just me. I'm not always
Does
the tool
this
of the
mean we're
week.
gonna
Only
pick, like,
sometimes.
a tool or like a tool?
No, we're going to use a tool. We're not going to say
This
like.
person's a tool this week on Twitter.
We're not going to say, which would be a great segment, and I have
That would be a great.
Lots of options.
nominees in mind.
Me too.
But no, the tool to use Twitter of the week, as opposed to the tool of like,
Yeah.
this guy is a real jerk off.
So the tool of the
Although,
week.
keep that in mind, because later we'll
Right?
talk about who your picks are.
Okay, so tool of the
Tool
week.
of the week.
Now
This one was my suggestion, actually.
I don't know if I took your suggestion.
Oh.
Am I veered
a
up?
different tool.
I might have.
Okay, mix it up.
Snap.
So this is a cool tool. It's called Clout.
Yes,
And
with a K.
With a K, KLOUT.com. And what's cool about this tool is it basically comes up with your sort of influence on Twitter.
Right.
So it basically describes itself as a numerical representation of the size and strength of a person's sphere of influence on Twitter. The scores range from 1 to 100. And it calculates your sort of influence in various ways based on how engaged your followers are, the spam bots that are following you, things like that, all sorts of stuff. And it comes up with a number between 1 and 100.
Uh-huh.
So I went ahead and I came up with the Clout scores of everyone here.
Cool.
And I'd like you guys to guess what.
I looked mine up. I cheated.
Oh, you cheated.
I
Okay.
cheated, I'm sorry.
So I didn't get your personal account, but I have the Daily Love. So who do you think has the highest Clout score out of?
I would guess the Daily Love would have the highest because he's got the most followers out of all of us.
That is correct. So a score of 73.
That's a C.
So
Yeah, right. That's not so great.
Not really. Not really.
So who do you think would be number 2 here?
Well, looking at my own score, I'm going to have to guess Alana.
Yes.
Because mine is not good
So
at all.
Alana had a score of 61.
It
So
fluctuates.
61.
Nice.
Yeah, it
It does.
fluctuates.
Yeah, it does change from time to time. Lon coming in third with 37,
37 seems low to me. I'm
Yeah, I
very
thought you'd have been a little
influential.
and me a measly 35 in fourth place. So.
But I'll tell you what, I watch how you guys tweet, and it's like I tweet a lot, so I'm engaging people all day.
Right.
And that's probably why. He's getting retweeted a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So that's part of
Right.
it too, because what Clout actually analyzes is how many people, like what percentage of your tweets get retweeted, what percentage of your tweets are questions.
Right.
I've been familiar with Clout for a little while. I like it. I have actually used it to send statistics to potential clients because you want them to see that, like,
Right.
if I tweet something for you, there's going to be an effect.
Yeah, if we pull up my screen right now, you can see they've got these two metrics. There's your audience and then there's your influence. And they're kind of charting them. So you can see on here, they've got like basically 4 different types of Twitterers depending on where you fall on that size of your audience and amount of your influence.
This is yours?
Ratio. This is me. So you can see I'm this yellow dot right here. I'm very much a persona, which they define as I've built a personal brand around my identity. There's a good chance that I work in social media or marketing, but I might even be famous in real life. Being a persona is not just about having a ton of followers. To make it to the top right corner, you need to engage with your audience, which is probably where I'm falling down, because though I do try to keep up with people and reply, I don't reply every time somebody replies to me, and I do tend to be a little bit slack about that sometimes if I'm busy, and so that's probably what's holding me back, I'm thinking.
I tweeted once that I noticed like Ashton had a 90, and I tweeted that out because I wanted to see. I said, when I grow up, I want to have a Clout score of 90 like Ashton, and then a couple of people in my stream were actually like, if Ashton is a 90, then that kind of negates Clout. But like, of course he's a 90. He's so followed and interactive on Twitter, and I think there's some wishy-washiness in the space about celebrities that get involved to that degree on Twitter. They almost feel like, get out of our space. But I think it's cool. I think that's what's going to help things like this get more and more mainstream.
It does look, though, like, because I'm wondering how they balance your influence versus your audience, because it looks like if you just have a big enough audience, even if you don't have that much influence, you still get a pretty high score. Like Jason, at Jason, my boss, Jason Calacanis, he has a 67.27, a good score. But he's not as high as Daily Love, but close. But he probably doesn't get retweeted nearly as much as you do. Like, he probably is, just because he's got so many. I mean, you've got more followers as well, but he's got a lot of followers, so that's probably what's gotten him so far over to one side. So it's interesting that they seem to be taking just pure follower count pretty seriously.
It would be interesting if Clout, or there's a few other services like Clout, it would be interesting if they did something like what Quantcast does, which is like, if you have more than one Twitter account, you could see your Clout of your whole network. Because that would be interesting, because I have 4 accounts. So it'd be interesting to see what my overall reach is.
So yeah, how would you use something like this? I mean, it's fun to see. You get a score. You get to feel like, you watch yourself maybe move up if you change a little bit about your behavior. But what is this really going to be sort of useful for long term, do you think?
I mean, I think, as you said, for companies wanting to evaluate who's following them, who in their follower base might be the most influential to reach out to regarding whatever promotions they're doing. I'm sure that you find that to be a pretty popular
well,
use.
it tells you on the bottom, what you were just showing on the screen. If you go a little lower on the screen, it'll show you who you're influenced by and who your influencers are.
Let's go to my screen again.
Rather.
So this is we'll go to my screen as soon as they pull it up. This is actually Alana that I pulled up. So these are people it's saying are possibly influenced by Alana Joy.
It's funny that it says that I'm possibly influencing one of my own accounts.
which is 2.0 me.
2.0 is one of my accounts, yeah.
And then here are people who are possibly influencing you. Jessica Gottlieb, I am Kayam,
LOL at one of them.
Techno Sailor. What?
Nothing.
Inside joke on the podcast here. So so that might be useful in terms of seeing people that you're reaching and the kinds of people that you're reaching and others. It'll
also tell you under the stats tab. It'll tell you who. What is the interesting thing is it'll tell you it actually says something different depending on what your score is, but on mine it says you're in the top quartile of influence.
Yeah, it says
that I like.
You're able to drive conversations. It says
and then at the bottom it'll tell you what you're doing, what you've increased at, what you're reduced at. It'll say, you're interacting more.
Because I'm looking at your clout score right now. So it says
all this information. I love it.
Yeah,
it really
says
useful.
It gives your reach, so your number of followers, how many people have retweeted you, your number of friends. So friends versus followers would be how many people you're following and are following you back.
Right.
Followers are just how many you're following. Follower mention percent 3%. See, that seems low. That seems kind of low to me. Out of all your followers,
think about it though. I've got 6,000 and change people following me. Okay, at any given time, and this is the thing too, people should take into account that when you tweet, it's not 6,000 plus people are sitting there waiting with bated breath for your tweet.
They are when I do it.
Well, I mean, I can only dream, but a percentage is actually even there. And unless you're constantly weeding out, or the only way to make somebody stop following you is if you kind of block them.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I can stop following people who haven't tweeted in a while, but they might still be following me. So you don't know really out of that 6,000 how many are active, how many are sitting there, how many are. So I think 3% is actually not bad.
It's
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'd have to
okay.
see. I'd have to compare it to someone else's.
Right. But I think that's partially why they would consider you a persona as opposed to a connector or one of the other things. Is that you're as much about sort of broadcasting as community building. Whereas someone like Marcia Collier, who was on here, her whole obsession on it is just I want to meet every single person who follows me. I guess this would probably apply to the Daily Love as well. You've got a message, you've got content that you're using Twitter to sort of distribute.
Yeah, it's not something that I actively engage with my audience. It's sort of it is sort of a one-way stream in many ways. I mean, I do follow about 400 people, but they're people who I find to be interesting on some level.
Right. So you're sort of sending out this inspiration and you have a message that you're sort of sharing.
Right.
So that's going to obviously be a different kind of Twitter experience and account than somebody who's trying to sort of build a community around their brand, which is what Marcia Collier, who's on eBay and selling eBay books. Her whole thing is just I want to build up an audience of people who are paying attention to what I do. Or Scott Sigler, who was our guest, who was an author.
That's what I'm doing as well.
Right.
I mean, because it's not. Most of my I posted on a blog post here, there, and there, is on my accounts for the respective blogs.
Right.
So I'll still tweet that, but it's more conversational.
So you've got a bunch of accounts. You're trying sort of everything. You're building a community around you and what you're doing, and you're just broadcasting hey, I wrote this blog post.
I'm curious. What does Clout say that he is? A persona, a connector?
Sounds like a Malcolm Gladwell book.
It does a little bit. We're gonna find out right now.
See.
The Daily Love.
I thought it was persona, if I remember.
Let's see. Yes, the Daily Love is a persona. Oh, Brian Sergitz makes it onto your.
Brian's a longtime friend.
Friend of the show, Brian Sergitz. Employs my brother, so nobody say anything mean about him.
Hate that guy.
Deepak Chopra. That's how you know you and I are different Twitter accounts. I don't think Deepak's had much of an influence on my Twitter account. Okay, anything else to add about Clout? Seems kind of useful. It's definitely in terms of the analytics. If you want to get an idea of what kind of impact you're making out there, what kind of how you sort of rank at what you're doing against other big people on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a good way to gauge where you're at. So.
Brian Sergitz, I should add, I don't want to knock him because he does employ my brother, but Clout score of 21.93. We're all kicking
He's too busy changing the world.
Your butt, man. We're all kicking your butt. Just get in line. Okay, so let's move on to the pro tip of the week. I actually found one of these.
Okay.
This was from Tony Shea of Zappos. He sent this out this week. I thought it was really interesting. He said, all tweets should contain or should be designed to do one of the following: inspire, connect, educate, or entertain. The ICE principle, in other words. So I actually thought, my first reaction upon reading that was, oh, it's so limited. that can't really be accurate. I mean, there's so many different uses for Twitter. You'd think you couldn't compress it down to 4 words like that. And yet, when you really start to think about it, it's hard to come up with a good tweet that doesn't do one of those 4 things.
Well, that's kind of what my first thought was like, well, what else is there besides those 4 things? Like, what?
Well, there's the at McDonald's just had a Big Mac.
Right.
And that's like unfollow immediately.
Right. Exactly. Although you could say what you had for lunch, you are educating people. They didn't know.
That might be
they didn't know you
and
had
now
a Big Mac, and now they know. But no, I think that's a good point. It is hard to think of anything substantive you'd say that isn't one of those sort of 4 things. And I think that might be a good principle for who to follow and who to unfollow. Is if you're looking at something and you look at their last 4 tweets and you're like, I got nothing out of that. It's not inspirational for me. I didn't connect one idea to another or to a new person. I've learned nothing, and I'm not amused.
Yeah.
If it doesn't meet any of those 4
Would that
things,
make you unfollow someone though?
well, I don't know. That's the question to the panel. Is that a hard and fast rule, or is it just sort of a good principle?
The only time I really unfollow someone, because I only follow someone who actually had a conversation with me at some point, or like gets involved in what I'm saying. So to unfollow someone, they have to spam my account, and like they have to numerous tweets back to back saying like, click on my link, like that kind of stuff. No, but unfollowing someone's harsh.
Unfollowing
Is
a little hard. I think so too.
I deleted a friend from Facebook once, and it was like,
That's
killed our
that's
friendship.
harsh. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
harsh.
And I was like, whoa.
I would agree with
Calm
that. That unfriending on Facebook is a lot more hard.
It was only because I got so many invites from that person, and I was just like, this is too much.
You
Yeah.
can turn that off.
You can?
I think so.
See, this is what I know nothing about these
Facebook's
things.
Yeah.
a little complicated.
We had a
Yeah.
question in the comment through before I forget that asked how long has Clout been around? They were founded in, it looks like August of 2008. So Clout's been around.
That long?
Clout's been around for a little
Wow.
while. I mean, that was when the company started. I don't know when they.
That's like
look it up
100
when
years
they
on the internet,
launched.
right?
Yeah.
On
it
the
was just
internet,
a
that's
few
a
months ago I
long
heard
time.
that.
You've been around since 2008. They may have launched after that, but that's when they actually were
Well,
founded.
Twitter's
so.
only been around since.
2007.
Was it?
I think it was 06.
Yeah, they had their 4-year
6.
anniversary a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
So that to answer your question, Ubi, 2008, Clout began. I don't know if that would be like unfollow. Like I'm looking at my own stream right now, and based on my last 3 tweets, it was, come watch this show. Total inside joke between you, me, Mark Jeffrey, and Curdy B. And then me. Well, I guess at replies don't really count because you're. And then me telling everybody I'm not going to Twestival.
Well, they do count because you're engaging people.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah.
So okay. So I feel better. I've met Tony Zappos's rule. Anybody think that that's dumb? Like anybody want to counter argue? I won't tell him. You said he's dumb.
No, I mean, I think everyone can, to each his own. People can use the service how they want to use it. I think it's just a matter of who you want to follow and who you don't,
Yeah.
Me personally, I try to put interesting, cool things in there. I don't put too much of the I'm eating a hamburger stuff in there. But
I feel like entertain is a big tent, and you could make a tweet about I'm just eating
absolutely,
a hamburger
but
entertaining. I mean, if you have a funny observation about that hamburger.
It's a real way of wording things. That's really funny.
Well, sometimes people write me and they say, "Can you please follow me? It'd be an honor," or something. I'm like, "Okay, no problem." And I follow them, and then there's like 7 tweets, and it's about like how like their blankets are crumpled or they need to go to bed, but they're still up.
Yeah.
And it's just like
There's a lot of that.
I have to unfollow that.
Americans obviously have a lot of sleep issues because I see that on Twitter a lot. Like, should totally go to sleep right now, but I can't. Like, there's obviously a lot of apnea or something going around.
I think the dumbest tweet I've ever seen is "follow me," because if I see that, I'm already following
I'm already
you.
following. Actually, we have that celebrity game coming up at the end. I don't want to blow my wad here, but at the end of the show, we have this game where I sort of give @replies people have sent to celebrities, and you have to guess the celebrity.
Oh, that's funny.
And one of them is where is it? Oh, it was so great. Oh, now I can't find. But what a horrible hosting this is. Where it was. Does anyone know if you have a Twitter account? Somebody sent, and it's like there's something so perfectly stupid about replying to someone on Twitter asking if they have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was totally amazing.
Doing it wrong.
remember the good old days when it was
You're
just
doing
like
it wrong.
07 and 08 when just the tech guys are on there.
Yeah, it was
just
only
the
early
smart people.
adopters. Back when I would like say Robert Scoble's fat, and then he would respond,
Right.
and be like, "Hey, dude, Like there was a time when it was that small a community where you couldn't call
He
someone
recently
fat.
actually tweeted something saying something like, "I just got called insignificant by someone who has like 2,000 followers," or something like that. I snickered. Yeah, I snickered.
No, but I think, I mean, I've had tremendous success with the inspiration side of that equation, and I do think that technology can be used in a good or bad way, and I think it really is up to us because when you have a fan base, it could be 500 people, it could be 100,000 people, it could be 1 million people. There's a responsibility there, because you're influencing their life even on a subconscious level. You have a responsibility to those people to not make the world a worse place. You can make it a funnier place, an irreverent place, but not a worse place. And so I think that falls in line with what Tony's saying for sure.
Yeah, let's unpack that. Like, what could you do on Twitter that would make the world like a worse place?
Well, I think that you could. I think that, for example, polarizing an issue. I think that that's really. I don't think that that's very a successful thing to do.
Yeah,
it happens all the
agree
time.
With that. Yeah, we're like where it's not just people having a political discussion, but they're sort of wedging everybody, and like if you don't believe this, then you're one of those, or that kind of language.
Yeah, for sure. I sometimes I get called like a left wing undercut. Like, it's really funny what some people reply to me. I'm just like, what are you talking about, dude? Just like have fun with your life.
Right, yeah.
But
it does seem like it would be weird to look at your feed and be like, this is controversial. It's mostly just like try to have fun, try to feel good about yourself.
But I think that you can absolutely cause damage to people by I mean, like there's one woman I follow, and she's a friend of mine, so I don't unfollow her. But she's constantly like, I hate people. People suck. Like that's pretty much all she says the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like, why are you saying that? Like, keep that thought to yourself.
just putting it out into the world. Yeah, I have somebody actually I follow too, who is like that. Where it's just the short, angry, and you get like this must be how this person vents. Like in real life they can't be like, oh, everybody's an idiot. So they use Twitter for that. Like whenever they feel that way. And yeah, it is. It's just relentless. I actually unfollowed. I'll tell this story. I won't mention the names, but I actually unfollowed someone once. Because they were they were all like a hardcore conservative, and everyone was like, Hillary Clinton is a dumb bitch, and like all this like, meme, and not only just like direct insults, but just like everything was just so overwhelmingly like the world is awful and liberals are so stupid, and I unfollowed, and then I tweeted that I unfollowed that person because they were so negative, and later I lived to regret that because I realized I was then playing into exactly what the problem was, which was they were being so relentlessly negative, and then I turned negative against their negativity, which is just basically
I think
just
there's
as bad.
definitely something to be said for what you're doing because throughout the day you're like tweeting and working, and there's like a tweet of sunshine, a reminder to like love yourself, and that's a good thing. But I also think there's something to be said for cynicism, and I also think there's something to be said for people who challenge the status quo or aren't afraid to say XYZ sucks. But that shouldn't be all you say.
Yes.
There should be a good balance of I love
but
this.
if you're gonna say, I love irreverence and I hate the status quo, but I think if you're gonna challenge it, it's like you can't. I don't think it's responsible just to be. Just to be a rebel for rebel's sake. I think you should do your research, it should be well-founded, and there should be some sort of solution. Otherwise, you're just like, what are you doing? You're just adding to the noise, But I think the status quo should be challenged on a minute-by-minute basis. I mean, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That it's not so much like never sort of sound off on something or give your opinion, but just like the relentless, pointless, I'm going to just shout angrily into the void, I think is the main issue. Let's go. Let's do the news. That was what was in the news this week.
I think he loves himself.
That's a good thing.
I cannot control what is in the news. The news goes on its own. I have no say in it. That's just what was
front page news.
That was front page news. I thought it would be Jesse James and Sandra Bullock, but it turns out
was that paper the Lawn Times? Is that what that was?
That was, yeah. We publish it in my basement. It's I got a little one of those old I got one of those old printing presses down there where I had to do the typesetting myself, but it's worth it. When it comes out and it's a big news day, it's worth it. So Mike, today, obviously big news. That's the biggest font we have. It was like 9/11 and then me, sexiest man in the world. Those are the only time we get out the 72 point. First news story.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
So this week, Twitter blog post on spam on Twitter. New stats were released that as of February, less than 1% of all tweets are spam, and that compares to about 11% in August of 2009. So do you guys notice a significant decline in spam? Is that something that you guys have seen?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not sure that it means there's less spam. I think I am more savvy, and there are more tools out there that make it easier to avoid it. So I think it's hard for me to say there's the number of spam tweets is less, because I just feel like I'm pretty good about that's a spam account. I'm just not going to follow it to begin with. There was a time when I would just auto-follow everybody who followed me, and then you'd wind up with a lot of hey, sexy, click this link. And, it's just obviously click that link because,
Brittany.
they must be referring to me. And then it's some horrible video thing.
But Twitter actually implemented a report for spam tool into their even web-based functionality. So I think that had a lot to do with it too, because in the past, you could just not follow those people, and Twitter would kind of have to weed them out, but there wasn't a way to actually report that. Now you can block and report for spam all at once. So I'm sure that had a big part of it.
Yeah, that definitely, although I'm always skeptical about the leaving the elimination of spam up to me, the user. Obviously, that has to be a component of it. You have to give your audience a way to notify you. But if you just sort of are leaving it up to them, I feel like a lot of different websites, not just Twitter, have that philosophy of just the audience will tell us what's spam, and then we'll get rid of it. And that usually to me is half effective, because we can't keep up.
With something so broad as Twitter, though, how are they going to keep up with it? They don't know what's going on in the grassroots, in the trenches, people who are tweeting, and there's this random crazy person. They don't know. I mean, unless they can come up with some kind of fancy algorithm to tell, and how can they look for keywords? I'm not sure how that would be possible.
And there's the other challenge of you don't want to infringe on people who are really using it for something genuine. You don't want a false positive, basically. It's almost like the justice system. Better to have 100 spam accounts exist than one guy who's really genuine about using it get cut off because it looks like spam. So somebody in the chat room said, this is a pretty good rule of thumb, if the followers are 100 times less than the followed, it's spam. If you look at that ratio, that is probably the best way to immediately see. Somebody's following 10,000 people and is followed by 8 is a spammer. Or just the worst Twitterer.
Or going out of their way to build an account in way the wrong way.
Yes.
Way the wrong way.
But even, to me, that the line between that of somebody who's just so misinformed about how to use Twitter that they're just following 10,000 people, it basically might as well be spam as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to be sharing things that are really amazing.
If you're following 10,000 people and 100 actually follows you back, you're not even doing that right. There's little things if you're starting an account and you want to build it up, there's I found this out right away. There's these little nests of people, they will follow you back. And, there's someone in particular that comes to mind that they follow 100,000 people. They're followed by 100,000 people.
Yeah, I'm annoyed by
but
that
they're
too.
They're nobody.
Well,
it puts this whole impression 100,000 people, and from the outside looking in, someone might think, 100,000 people followed them and they just follow them all back.
Yeah.
But what they've really done is probably followed every MLM person out there who will for sure follow you back, and it's true, and that's a way to build. 100,000 people don't know who you are; they're not paying attention to.
Yeah. Well, speak for yourself. I also my other rule of thumb avoiding spammy people is if they have the words social media in their bio unironically. If you have social media ninja, where it's an amusing, but yours is ironic.
I don't say ninja. Thank God.
What do you say?
I don't say ninja. I don't say guru.
Yeah.
No.
What do you have social media in your bio? What is your bio?
I don't. I change my bio all the time. I just changed it.
Because I looked at yours and you almost violated my rule, but you were just on the side of irony.
If you unfollow me, I'll totally cry.
I follow you. No, you don't say social media at all in here. Okay, so see, you're amused. I want to be the girl with the most cake. My shtick, pixel pimp, marketing mastermind, instigator, blogger, designer, host, Sarcatalist.
That's a new one, Sarcatalist. I was proud of that.
And that's good. No social media. If somebody has social media in there,
I used to have social media, but the thing is,
social media maven and expert.
Yeah, I changed it to new media just because social media has it's gotten this whole Plus, social media seems like a less broad than
Yeah.
new media.
Also, there's a corollary to that rule. They have social media in their bio, and they have less followers than me. Because I am not a social media expert. If I can have more followers than you, you by definition are not a social
how are
media
you going
expert.
to teach someone how to do it when
So
you
that's
can't
my
do it?
two-part avoiding spam rule,
But
and it works
everybody
out
does
well.
that, and it's really annoying. Like social media ninja, social media guru. You know, if you are doing social media, you're probably doing marketing. If you have a marketing mind, come up with something better
Yeah.
to call it. You know, and that's where like my bio kind of evolves, because I'd rather say it in like a funny, cute way that shows my personality or whatever than just guru, ninja, maven.
You know, last time we had Sean Percival as the guest on our last episode, and he has the greatest Twitter bio of all time, which is, did you know that HTML stands for how to make love?
Love that. Yeah.
You're not going to top that. Nobody's ever going to top. I think that's the number one
That's clever.
greatest ever. That's the sort of thing that makes me want to follow somebody. I think I just put like, I host a couple shows, leave me alone. I think mine's something
Leave
like
me
that.
alone.
It doesn't say.
Can you change your bio to just
It
say
doesn't
leave me
say.
alone?
You want me to say? I'll change my bio to say leave me alone.
But Alana,
That'd be an interesting experiment.
I got a question for you, because you do kind of, one of the little pet peeve of mine I have
What?
is
Oh, no.
Bitly links as your links on your profile.
Oh, yes.
Why is
Why
that a pet peeve?
I
We'll
just,
go to Alana's profile so we can see what.
I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like the tracking, like you can probably see it anyway from your analytics tools, right? I mean, you probably get a little
yeah.
more detailed information from the Bitly, but
But what do you dislike about it? Let's
Just
go to
not
Alana's
knowing-
profile so we can see what Mike is
Here we
talking
go.
about here.
I'm getting put on blast.
There we go. Right here, you can see web, and then she's just got this Bitly.
yeah.
Okay,
it's-
the reason why I do that is because, yes, I can go into my analytics, but then I have to like go and say it, and it takes more time to like find that link and trace that link via like my analytics than it does to just look on Bitly. And
Efficient
see.
use of space too.
It is more efficient use of
Now,
space.
do you not like it because you can't just see the link that it
Yeah, I
doesn't
like
say
to know where I'm going.
Facebook
Right,
or alanajoy.com or whatever?
Yeah, it's more like the
Go see,
uncertainty
you know,
about.
wherever it's leading
or
you.
that.
What's behind door number 3?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I mean, I do like to. I'm always suspicious. I think of a Bitly link, although when
Yeah.
it's somebody you know
Well,
on
Yeah,
their
if it's
profile.
not a spammer, then like it's probably not going to take you to Brittany.
Oh no,
leaked
it's not really.
vids.
Yeah, it's sort of a mix between not knowing and, you know, obviously for your account, obviously there's no worries there.
Can
I'm
you
But
set it
actually
up to go
working-
to the trollololo guy
Oh my goodness.
just for 1 week?
Actually, it would be funny. I was hanging out with some people who are all also on Twitter recently and discovered a website called Bacon or Beer Can.
Wow.
That would be a funny one to put to Bitly, like hide it in the Bitly, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
that'd be funny.
Or B. Arthur Pizza Mountain, was that the new
what's
one?
that?
You know, they always have those Tumblr blogs where it's like
goodness.
random Photoshop assembly. And they had Selleck Waterfall Sandwich a couple weeks ago where it was pictures of Tom Selleck and sandwiches in front of a waterfall.
I missed that.
The new one is pictures of B. Arthur and pizza in front of mountains.
I like all
Did
the
you-
fuck yeah, whatever. On
Yes,
Tumblr.
it's in the
There's
it's
like
in the it's in the like fuck yeah sharks, fuck yeah
Yeah,
Ryan
I love
Gosling
that.
school of.
Did you
yeah.
see the one that Perez Hilton posted? It was like lesbians who look like Justin Bieber.
yes.
If you go to my if you go to my
Offensive,
if you
though.
go to my screen right now, you can actually see B. Arthur, Pizza Mountains,
Oh,
pictures of
goodness.
the late B. Arthur enjoying pizza in the mountains. So
that's called
Yeah.
way too much time on your hands.
this probably didn't really take that much time. I mean, it's not the greatest photo. Okay, enough jerking around. What's the next news story?
So this isn't really a huge news story, but I just thought it'd be fun to talk about. So Demi Moore this week in an interview answered her fans' pleas to change her profile picture. But she said that she's not changing her profile picture. Her profile picture, Mrs. Kutcher.
Is that the one where she's like a kid or something?
Yeah, she's a child in the photograph, and she said she wants to keep it because it reminds her of her roots. And I just thought that was interesting in general, people's sort of strategy on how often they change their profile picture. What do you guys do? I mean, obviously for a brand it's a little different, but for your personal accounts, do you guys change them up a lot, or do you sort of wait longer to do that?
I change them every time I have a new picture taken of myself where I'm making like an interesting face. This is literally how I do it. Because most pictures of myself, I tend to do like one face in picture. I go like that, and that's all I do. So if I'm doing something different, then I think, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to make that my profile. That's how I decide. I try not to change it more than once every couple months because people get confused. They don't know if they're looking at you.
There's this thing that started following me. It's a bot of some sort, and it like tweets out, "You just accomplished your," and I recently changed my picture, and it said, "You just accomplished your 5th Twitter picture change," and they keep track of it.
Wow.
Which is like, I don't remember the name of the company because I'm not into it. I think that's lame. But I change it. I don't know what I base that on, though. Like, I think when I changed my background, I changed it to like the photo shoot picture. And then I got tired of the photo shoot picture because I felt like maybe it's inauthentic because it's so like photo shooty.
Yeah.
You know, so then I changed it to like another one that's just me. But people do get confused sometimes.
Well, yours is just a logo. Yours is just TDL.
Well, it's funny because we just switched a logo a couple months ago. It used to be the Daily Love in a circle and it was green. And I switched it because we're going for a different look and feel. And the backlash that I got, I mean, I got direct messages from like I got backlash, and I got backlash from celebrities.
What?
Like celebrities who have millions of followers are like I got one celebrity sent me a direct message at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was like, "This is the wrong move. You need to change it back. What are you talking about?" And it was like, and I'm like, whoa, you do you?
Who was it? You're not gonna say.
I'm not gonna say it, but like it's just
it was Diddy. It was Diddy.
It was totally Diddy, for sure. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to branding, one of the most important things about a brand is the consistency. So we're not going to ever change our logo unless we change our logo. But that'll
but
stay
it would be
forever.
a big thing. We can go if you pull up my screen, we can see Mrs. Kutcher. This is the
That's
the image they don't
adorable.
like.
Come on.
I think it's cute, and the fact that she's had it for so long. As soon as she said Demi Moore, I knew I could visualize the picture that she was talking about.
No, this is so wrong. But like, why is what's popping into my head like lesbians that look like Justin Bieber?
No,
I love her, and it
not
does not
appropriate
hate,
at all.
but-
Not appropriate. I love
Amazing.
also that the most recent thing that she tweeted was a retweet of John Stamos. It's like, of course, why wouldn't you be doing?
I
a
think it's cute
retweet
that
of-
means something to her.
Oh, look at this! It's them.
Oh.
It's them. This is why Twitter is amazing. You got to pull this up. This is Demi Moore and John Stamos, like years and years ago, back in the day, pre Jesse and the Rippers. John Stamos. No, nobody. This is the band from Full House. You guys disappoint me.
Silence.
I know that band.
Jesse and the Rippers.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That was Uncle Jesse's band.
Jesse and the River.
Okay. Any more? One more big.
So a kind of cool story. So Twitter has been localizing the service in a variety of languages for a while. And sort of this week's leaked preview of potentially auto-translation of the actual tweets in a variety of languages. So what do you guys think about it? Would you find that to be very useful? It obviously broaden the reach of your brand and what you're doing.
I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it goes, you have a global audience.
Yeah, I think it would be incredible. And just, I mean, so much of Twitter is about community and bringing people together and sort of, bring people together who may not ordinarily have cause to communicate. I mean, I know I'm sort of chatting daily on Twitter with people in other cities who I probably never would have met, maybe people who work in totally different industries. And I mean, this just explodes that tenfold.
Just
I
hope
think
you get the syntax right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'll have like with the Google Translate on YouTube now. I don't know if you guys have tried to use that, but it's not. Everything comes out sounding like a Soviet propaganda film, basically. Like,
I think that's amazing, though. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I always hear stuff like that and think into the future, and I'm just like, okay, maybe tech can somehow create this global, take away the communication barriers and let everybody talk. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Like you can place a phone call, speak English to someone who speaks Chinese, and then they speak Chinese back, and you hear, like you reverse the languages basically, kind of
Yeah.
the same type of thing.
They
That'd be
actually,
amazing.
Yeah.
they actually have. I've seen. There's a couple applications, even one for the iPhone, where you just speak into it your native language, and then it repeats it over the speaker in whatever language you want to the person.
So Star Trek. You remember Star Trek?
Wow.
They always have those earpieces where you can talk to aliens, but it sounds like they're talking.
See, but I think that's
English
beautiful.
to you?
That's so, I don't know, like I get, but I think that's beautiful. I think like that's where that stuff like that is where my love for tech comes from, because we're taking away borders, we're taking away language barriers, and I think that's beautiful. It is, yeah, we make money off of it or we don't, but there's something inspiring.
Usually not. It's okay though.
There's something inspiring about that. I like that a lot.
Definitely. Domain Noob brings up the obvious point. It would be brilliant for chat roulette. I mean, talk about completely changing the chat
Priorities,
roulette
people.
game. I could, watch people pleasure themselves.
What's chat roulette?
Oh, goodness.
What's chat roulette? Oh my god. Oh my god. Chat roulette is the greatest single piece of technology that has yet been created. It's a teenager in Russia invented a system where you log in and as long as you have a webcam, you get hooked up randomly to someone else in the world who is also using a computer with a webcam at that moment, and you two can just start talking, and at any time you can hit next, either one of you, and you'll just switch to the next person.
That's amazing.
And it has become
in a weird kind of way.
There was just a chat version of that. I don't remember what the name of it was, but I remember there was just a chat where you just go,
chat without the video.
It was so lame.
You need the video.
You need to see something.
You need the video.
Like, it was hi. A/S/L. Like, what were we back in?
What
like,
are you wearing?
1996?
Yeah, no, it's not. This is sort of the next level of that, but sort of really interesting in a way that it's so rudimentary. I mean, it is like internet circa 1994. This notion of logging in and just linking up to people randomly. I mean, it's like Prodigy, or people who are old enough to remember CompuServe and Prodigy, that stuff.
With those modems.
Yeah, right. But yes, and everybody is noting that I should tell you, as opposed to the utopian vision I presented, 99% of the men on it are using it to pleasure themselves and trick other people into watching them do so. So that's what really happens on chat roulette, as opposed to the sort of nice, you meet up with people from other countries.
There's a slight disparity in the ratio of males to females.
Slight, by like
99 to 1.
Basically, there are no females on it at all. We actually
might have scared him away.
Right. Hey, I can't blame them.
So many people are like, I just got flashed by like XYZ.
You know what? It's happening less. I will say that when I first learned about chat roulette and logged on, it would be one out of every 2 people you would click through would be like person, penis, person, penis. Now it's like far fewer penis. Probably 1 out of 8 is a penis.
It's good. It's progress.
Yeah, we're moving along. Now it's a lot of people. I think it's a lot of people smoking pot now. It's always like penis, person, bong, person, penis, which is like better. It's improving. One day we'll get to stasis. We did have a question. Domain Noob also asked about your buttons, which we should talk about while we're still here in the news.
I want to talk about my buttons. I'm so proud.
Tell us about your buttons.
They are Foursquare buttons that I got at South by Southwest.
So these are badges you can get on Foursquare.
These are actual badges. I have more, but these matched my outfit. So.
So did you get like the full set or something?
No, I didn't. But I got. So I have the douchebag pin. Wait. Did we determine that this was bender or crunked?
That's crunked.
Okay.
I believe.
And then I have the...
When did you go? The douchebag pin, for people who don't Foursquare, is they basically set, like, this is a place where douchebags go.
Yeah.
And then if you check in there, you get the douchebag. So where did you go that was douchey?
I had the LA Web Awards thing. And the night of the LA Web Awards, actually I was annoyed because everybody got the douchebag badge except me, and I was like, WTF? Where's my?
So the LA Web Awards themselves were considered douchebag pin worthy.
And you know what? And it was a bunch of amazing people, but I was like, where's my douchebag badge? And I actually ended up getting it the next day, and I don't even remember where I was offhand. Yeah. But yeah, I like that. I like that it's kind of obscure. I guess do people have to make a note maybe?
I feel like it has to be up to, I think, Foursquare programs in the douchebag.
That'd be a cool job at Foursquare.
Yeah.
I think it's decided
to pick where douchebags go.
I think it's decided by Foursquare. I saw a friend of mine, I don't have one, a friend of mine got one logging in somewhere on Downtown Disney. Was rated like some bar at Downtown Disney was a douchebag spot. And I got the douchebag
That's kind
badge.
of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at South by, Foursquare actually did a bunch of cool stuff to promote their brand. And one of the things was they had these pins and temporary tattoos. And my friend had them, and I was so jealous. I was like, I will find these pins. It was one of my missions. There was another mission that I failed. But you had to get, guess they had 6 representatives there.
Right.
And you had to get a business card from each of them, and if you put it all together like a puzzle, it would somehow reveal how to get a secret badge. And I got like 3.
My mission was to see how many people would buy me Jack and Cokes. That was about my only mission to tell them. It was a massive success.
Most of the parties were free drinks.
Nah, that's not necessarily, not the ones I was going to.
Maybe that was
Most of the ones I was going to were like hotels and stuff where it was just sort of a spontaneous gathering.
Yeah, but see, we were talking about your South by party experience and my South by party experience.
I did go to the Gawker party, which had free drinks, but it was only this sweet tea infused vodka that was not awesome.
Yeah.
It was not so great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we should definitely move on to talk to Mastin because we're already running low on time. So much to get to. First, the 5 questions. We ask these of everybody, so we'll go through it pretty quickly.
Okay.
So, where do you access Twitter? Phone?
Uber Twitter on my BlackBerry.
Uber Twitter on the. That's number 2. What do you use? Why Uber Twitter? What do you like about it?
It was the first one that I downloaded, and then because I didn't tweet that much until I only tweeted like once a day until August, and then I downloaded Uber Twitter. I'm like, oh my god, I don't have to log on to my computer. I can do this like a text message. This is great.
Yeah.
This is horrible. And I just stuck with it. I'm really familiar with the software, so I just stuck with it. No specific reason.
Who is your favorite Twitterer, or what Twitterer inspires you?
That's a great question. I would say my favorite Twitterer would have to be Karma Corrupt. I spell with KK, KARMAKORRUPT. She's in Texas, and she's an amazing writer, and she's moving to New York pretty soon, I think. But she's phenomenal, and her blog is beautiful. She combines inspiration and sensuality in a way that's really, I'm not sure if it's completely appropriate for the show.
So here we are, yeah. Amid illusion and emancipation. Post that down there. There we go. Karma Corrupt inspires Mastin. How many tweets would you say you send out in a typical day, and are you aware of it?
17 on average.
Oh, wow, you do.
Yeah, on average.
Why is that?
There was some site. I can't remember what site it was, because I kind of like, I realized there are all these analytical tools that you could use to kind of like look at like who's following you and all that kind of stuff. And it said on one of the sites that I send an average of 17 tweets a day.
And then finally, the retweet option on Twitter, fail or not fail?
I don't use it, so I guess fail.
That would be fail.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess I'm old-fashioned in Twitter world. I like the RT better. I don't know. That's really it. And I don't really have that option on Uber Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, so I have some follow-up questions. I couldn't resist.
Let's go.
You and I have a very different sort of outlook
That's
on life,
fantastic.
so I thought that would be interesting. So here's, to me, the big question. The number one thing, when I was looking over at the Daily Love, do you really think, can you improve someone's self-esteem through Twitter or email messages or blog posts? Doesn't it, on some kind of level, take human contact to inspire someone? Inspires.
I think, my Twitter friend Tyrese and I sort of have this gripe with people where, it's like there are a lot of people retweeting stuff, but we're kind of like, well, what are you doing about it? But I get 20 to 30 emails and or tweets a day with people who talk about how they've changed their lives since the Daily Love has come into their life. And I don't take the time to really emotionally go there and think about it because it's profound, but absolutely. But, and it's not about Twitter. It's not about human contact. You can be with a therapist for 10 years and not change. It's access to the information. And that's really what the Daily Love is like, look, there's all this information out there. You don't have to, create a dogma around it. It's just common sense. Like, go out and do it. And I think that if that's something that resonates with you and something that you want to act on, you now have access to that information and you can do something with that. But it's completely up to you.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be the idea to me, is that somebody basically has to be in a place where they're already committed to, I need to change my perspective, I need to look at things a new way. Just reading a tweet or seeing something on the internet alone it doesn't seem like that's really going to be like, oh, a door has been opened, my life is better.
You might not have an epiphany, but at the same time, it's like, the analogy that comes to mind is like tossing a pebble into a body of water and watching the ripple effect happen.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, you could be one of those people who's having an awful day and going, life sucks, and then see, you know, a tweet from his account on your stream and go, well, maybe not all the time, or maybe not so much, or maybe things will turn around, or, you know, or sometimes, like for me personally, I like to keep a positive way of thinking, but sometimes my thoughts will slip into that place of like, and so a little reminder here and there of like, this is, you know, get back on that positive, you know, track is a good thing.
It could even be almost a cumulative effect, like reading these things every day and
Yeah.
starting to just think about things in a different sort of perspective over time, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's kind of like that's why I love Shawshank Redemption, because it's like how they get out of prison. It's like they chip away every day, and it's not this massive thing all at once. It's like chip, 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 and then that's how change happens.
But then crawling through the sewer, to extend the metaphor.
It's a great metaphor.
Yeah, that was a great metaphor.
Why do you think people, on Twitter and outside of Twitter, why are people today so desperate for inspiration? Why has this resonated with people?
Well, the reason why I started the Daily Love is because I personally believe that there is, for lack of a better term, an existential crisis happening on the planet. I think that the sky gods are, for lack of a better term, are sort of colliding, and it's like, you know, well, Muslims and Jews and Christians and, you know, there's this whole sort of like collision, and, you know, then there's information coming out about, well, maybe that wasn't 100% true, or, you know, the government isn't coming to my aid, and they're kind of going, well, who do I believe in? What's going on? All this stuff is happening so fast. We're aware of these things, and my whole goal with it is to basically be like, look, we're all in this together. We all have a similar story. We all kind of want the same thing. And by the way, none of that matters to you, because only what you're doing in your life matters. And then if you change from within, you can bring that change to the world. But expecting the world to change for you, you're going to be let down your whole life.
Well, and the one common denominator in all of those belief systems that you mentioned is love.
Absolutely.
Everybody believes in love. Every religion believes in love. Individuals might not, but every religion, like what you're talking about, every spiritual place to go.
There's so many people that are so busy pointing out differences. I'm not really interested in differences. I'm interested in what's the common denominator.
The commonality, yeah.
You know, and you know, as you just point out, I mean, that's really what it is. You know, and it's kind of like, my analogy to it is like, you're a Mac person, you're a PC person. You use Firefox to log on to the internet, you use Internet Explorer, maybe you have a faster connection, but same internet. Same internet, no difference. Right. You know, but it's like, well, Macintosh is the only computer to use. Well, no, it's not, because look at this. You're gonna demonize me because I use a PC.
No,
Makes
but I
it's
might
the same
roll my
internet.
eyes.
No, but that's fine. But it's like, but that's like the technological analogy to spirituality, which is like there's something common amongst all stories, mythologies, religions, and it all applies to like, look, heroes, saints, messiahs have all walked the path before, and it's now time for you to experience that path for yourself, and it's something that comes from within you. And so the Daily Love is kind of like a pragmatic way to look at it, because we're not Pollyanna. You know, I don't think that like life is great all the time. Like, no, there's things happen and there's challenges, but your mind is so much more powerful than you think it is. And you know, if you outsource your power in relationships, in business, in anything, of course you're gonna be let down. Of course. You know, but if you bring that within, it's a game changer.
Manifestation, like. You know, as you think, so shall it be, and that whole way of thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, every religion boils down to a quote that Emerson said, which is, life happens, the things that manifest in your life are what you think about the most. It's really simple. And it's not a secret. And, you know, and it's not something that's like, visualize a Ferrari and you'll have it tomorrow.
It is the secret, though.
No, it's not the secret.
Isn't that the secret?
The secret
is
like,
think about things and then they'll happen to you.
Take that to a deeper level, because it's not like literally, oh, I'm dreaming of, you know, a Ferrari and tomorrow it's gonna boom be in my driveway. It's more like, if you really want that Ferrari, what's gonna get you there?
But it's even deeper than that, though, because for me it's like, when I manifest or when I create things in my life, I don't think about the physical object. I think about the sensation that it brings me. And what happens is when I focus on that sensation of happiness, I'm met with things that bring me happiness. It has nothing to do with a Ferrari. I could be perfectly fine in a used.
Well, so okay, we become what we think of. Like, so if I think every day. Let's just say hypothetically, if I had a Ferrari, I would feel very confident. Mm-hmm. I would feel very successful, like I'd made something of myself. This represents that. So if I go to sleep every night and wake up every morning sort of focusing on that feeling of, I want to feel successful and I want to feel like I have this sort of status and everything. That alone, that's gonna do it for me. Then I'm gonna obtain that feeling, or am I faking it until maybe I make it?
Well, I think it's like anything. It's like, I used to be probably 50 pounds heavier than I am right now, and I would consistently think, I can't eat that, I have to go to the gym. I'd be thinking it, but I wasn't doing it.
Right.
So when when your thoughts are in alignment with your action, change starts to happen. But it's not an overnight thing.
But was it your thoughts, or was it like hitting the gym and
Cheetos? Thought precedes form, though.
You have to believe that you can in order to actually try. I mean, like if you've had two people and one thinks, oh, I can't do this, and the other one thinks I can, who do you really think is more likely to get it done? And even if the person who thinks, I can't do this, is more intellectually capable or physically capable, they're less likely to succeed.
Yeah, to me personally, I feel like that breaks down when it becomes beyond personal goals like losing weight. Like losing weight, obviously, your mental state has a lot to do with whether or not you'll lose weight, your health generally, even your job,
your love life.
But yeah, I think that too often Americans tend to assume that that can be universally applied to things that aren't really directly in your control, or that aren't really directly, your career path would be a good one. Like you could choose, I should keep this job, I should go for another job, I should look for a job that's slightly different. But I'm never going to be like an awesome developer. Like I don't have an aptitude for coding.
Just to get
I don't have a background in that. I'm already in my 30s.
That doesn't mean because you just said you'll never be it. You just made that true.
But do you think
because
if I went
you're
to sleep
capable?
tonight,
You went and took classes.
No, I don't think I'm capable.
You don't think you're capable?
I'm terrible at that stuff. Matt, you should see the stuff they draw on the whiteboards out there. It's like curly things, things that don't even look like characters.
What do you think
to reference Malcolm Gladwell again, put 10,000 hours into it, be a different story.
Yeah, what do you think that any developer has internally, tools-wise,
some people
that you don't have?
You don't think people have aptitudes?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm good at this and I'm bad at this.
But they can be overcome. You just might have to work harder.
But the other thing that's interesting, and it's inherent in the question, is that how many times do you get the thing you want? You're like the person, the car, the money, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm still not happy.
Yes.
The point is to manifest those things in your life so that you now understand, this does not make me happy. What does make me happy? And the answer is always inside of you. So you might manifest, you might work your ass off to get a Ferrari, and then realize I still feel like crap. What is that? And then that's when the journey starts to really happen. Sometimes people, when they leave you, when situations go wrong, it's a wonderful time to go inside and do some self checking in with yourself and really understanding what makes you tick, and then readjusting it. It's a tantric philosophy, which is opposite from a Buddhist philosophy, to actually succumb to your desires, because those are what lead you to purification, to what really true happiness is. Because if you think something's going to make you happy, it has your power. So go find out if it's true or not.
Right. They're all telling me in the chat room that I should be learning how to do code, which I don't have. It's just an example. I have really no desire to sit. I see how hard these guys work. It's totally cool. It's all right.
But
I'm all right with being on the camera.
We live in a neutral universe, and we are very, very powerful. We are very powerful, and we forget this because we go to magazines or friends or parents who want the best for us, but are operating from a fearful place, and so we let fear rule us.
Right.
And when we go knock that and we stop that and we go, what do I want? You can begin to manifest that, and that's not a popular point of view. It's just not. People because then people start thinking for themselves. Then what happens? A completely different story.
Then what happens? You sounded very movie phone guy when you said that.
Movie phone guy?
Yeah, you were like,
and then
what happens?
3 people discussing Twitter.
But I don't think we should box ourselves in and say, I can't do this or I can't do that. I don't know. Sometimes you can't do. If you physically, I can't fly, and it's totally healthy to believe that I can't fly. If I sat here and I was like, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. But that would be kind of crazy. But there's nothing that any other person with the same. They're a person, I'm a person, there's nothing he can do that I can't do. There's nothing I can do that he can't do.
Will Smith,
with the same work.
Will Smith said it best. He said it best. I love Will Smith.
That may be the first time anyone has ever uttered the phrase, certainly on this show, Will Smith said it best.
No, he said it. He really said it best. He goes, successful people have to have a delusional quality about them to believe so strongly that they are successful.
I agree with.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
And he said, I always knew I was an A-list actor in Hollywood. You guys just didn't know it yet. You know, and like that is a perfect example of like thought precedes form and consistent action towards a goal.
Yeah.
You know, with utter faith, belief, determination, all of those things. It's completely possible, but it's like, are you willing to pay that price to become that person?
That is very wise. I also agree with Big Willie style is all in it. Getting jiggy with it. That is also very true. One more question for you that I wrote up here, and this is actually something that was really interesting to me when I was reading your @replies and your feed and really looking at the community that's built up around the Daily Love. Because you've built up this audience and they're so engaged and they're looking at it every day, do you feel like you could give it up tomorrow? Would you feel like you're abandoning people? Like, do you now feel like you have a special responsibility to the people who look to you for inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, you know, because I have a voice. I mean, Tyrese told me when I reached about 100,000 people, he goes, you realize you have a responsibility. It's like you're educating people. And I said, yeah, no, I totally get that. But that being said, you know, I'm going to do what I have to do for my life. So if all of a sudden I'm called somewhere else, it's like, that's the end of that. You know, and I have no problem with that, you know, because at the end of the day, like, I don't really believe in, like, the Daily Love shouldn't be someone's crutch. It should be like someone who's like pushing you along to go manifest. But at the end of the day, it's like, you have to do it yourself. And, you know, every story, before the hero can complete his goal, Obi-Wan has to die. I mean, he just does, you know, so you have to go out and do it by yourself, you know.
And he comes back. He's okay. It's the spirit.
So have you had any offers for like a book deal or anything like that? You start to see that happen with stuff like this.
Inspirational shit my dad says.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Has there been anything?
Yeah, there's been some discussions. I mean, I've met some of the most amazing people because of it, and it's just starting to happen. But I've been getting approached, but I'm not really interested. I mean, I'm definitely interested in monetizing it and making a living from it, but it has to be done like in a really right, organic way with the purity of intention. You know.
What would you want to do?
Well, what we're doing is I just did a deal with a company in Silicon Valley who's handling all the back-end stuff and doing the development and the design, and they have a relationship with some ad networks that are going to be driving revenue our way. But it's going to be brand consistent, so it's not going to be like Chevron or, you know, Wells Fargo or something like that. Like, it's like conscious brands, so that the advertising is just as meaningful as the words that are being said. But I want to create things that give people tools to actually go out and do stuff. One of my sort of gripes with, I guess, the self-help business is that a lot of people that are out there, they are great thought leaders, but they create a system where people are reliant on them so that when they're in the room, it's like, let's go, you can do it. And then they leave and people are like, whoa, where'd you go?
Right.
I'm like, jump, you figure it out. And so I would want to create tools that really, you know, help that be a success. But I really, you know, my passion is storytelling, because, you know, that's I mean, all day we tell stories to people, and that's transformational. I mean, look at like something like Avatar, you know, or Star Wars.
I still haven't seen Avatar.
I've seen Avatar. Well, I've seen it 6 times, so that makes up for
my
one.
God,
Avatar
what?
6 times?
Avatar or Star Wars?
I've seen Star Wars hundreds of times,
Yeah.
but I've seen Avatar 6 times in 3D every time.
Wow.
But you know, it's like there's a transformational power there.
I'm like the last living person
I haven't
to
seen
not.
it either.
Well, you better
actually.
see it soon.
Neither of you have seen
I haven't.
Avatar? I've
No.
seen. I was like, second week it was open. I had to go 3D. I saw it in the.
It's amazing, but you know, like there's a.
It's amazing.
I mean,
The
but
3D,
I
the
heard
look
it
of
was
it
like-
visually, it is super amazing.
Pocahontas
You got
all
it.
over
You got
again.
it.
Yeah, but you know, but that's the thing about the monomyth, which is the hero's journey, is it's basically the same. You can't, you know, every story's already been told.
Yeah.
Aristotle talks about it in
Nothing's
Poetics.
original anymore.
You know,
We're
well,
all
it never
recycling
was
it.
though. It really never was. It really never was. I mean, look at Iliad and the Odyssey. There's no difference between the Iliad and the Odyssey and really Star Wars on a
Well,
thematic
I mean,
level.
but like really look at like ancient philosophers who were the first people to go. You know,
Yeah,
as you know, like
There's something archetypal about
Yeah.
some of these myths. I mean, they all sort of. It's not like one person could never have sort of come up with something that is so sort of elemental to being human. These stories just kind of make sense to us. There's something innate about like
Absolutely.
the Avatar story, which is you'll recognize. I mean, when you're watching it, you know sort of the beats that are coming because it's not because it's like Pocahontas or Fern Gully or all the other ones people have mentioned, but because it's just sort of that's the story. I mean, we all know that story. That's the human sort of experience.
Yeah.
Of that story. But why does Sigourney Weaver's Avatar have clothes that fit perfectly? That was really bothering me in the movie.
You know, this is actually something that's really interesting. Is that I really believe that the combination of wisdom with some sort of personal sense of style and outer aesthetic is really, really important, because there's this whole group of people, and I used to be one of them, where it's like I was like super overweight. I'm like, I love myself no matter what, and they're gonna see me for me. And it's like, you know what? I feel bad about myself. I want to look good, and I also want to have that deep essence about me. And so I think that, you know, there's something to be said for style, and there's something to be said for aesthetic, and especially in a pop culture format.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think you can wear Chanel and be spiritual.
Absolutely.
For sure, or Marc Jacobs, or whatever that is for you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, and then there's just the raw truth that even if you love yourself the way you are, and that's good, and you should have that no matter what.
It's a starting point.
There's the rest of the world too, and people who are maybe less evolved, and the bulk of the masses are going to take you at face value, and it's not even a negative thing. It's part of what we do as a species. I mean, when we were in the caveman, you know, stage of society life, like that's how we assess, is someone a threat, is someone a friend, is someone, you know, we assess things for our own survival. And even though we don't live in a world where somebody could necessarily, like, well, we do actually live in a world where people can do things, even in civilized society, to hurt you or whatever, but it's less about survival instincts now and more about, like, you know, feeling out whether someone's going to be good to you or somebody's going to screw you over or somebody's going to be good to work with in business. There's those I guess,
the gut feeling.
Yeah, but that gut feeling, it's not really a gut feeling. It's coming from like thousands and thousands of bits of information that are coming from just observing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's changing too with stuff like Twitter, and I mean, personal style now becomes almost how you conduct yourself in addition to how you sort of look. And I mean, I think, like, you know, the sort of the Mad Men idea of you could know somebody when they come into a room, like they're in the Brooks Brothers and they've got the martini. Like, now it's the same. There are those kind of rules and standards for style online.
Well, I think it's just it's a personal choice. You know, I mean, like, you know, if you look at the way Buddha dressed, I mean, he was overweight and bald and like totally rad and totally like stoked on himself. You know, and you have a guy like Biggie Smalls who would come in and just own a room. You know, he didn't have six-pack abs. That was, you know, but like that was his energy and that was what his thing is. So as long as you fully own that for you, it's really all good.
Yeah, science,
but the concept of like being on the path or being spiritual and being poor or not, you know, dressing well or not being able to be in the consumer society, that doesn't really resonate with me. You know, I think that we need a vocabulary that says, like, I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world, but I'm still going to participate in it.
Right.
I mean, it's pragmatic. You know, not everyone can go off to a monastery and meditate for the rest of their lives, nor do they want to. But they still want to have meaning in their lives.
Right. That you sort of find the meaning as well as engaging with the wonder of the world.
And as long as that Ferrari or that designer piece doesn't define who you are, is an extension of who you are, you're fine. But if you're defining your whole personality by that, you're off course.
So, you know, what's cool about Twitter is that you're removing almost, I mean, aside from, you know, a tiny little icon, you're removing the bulk of your aesthetic. And
which
your
has been
style,
great for me.
And your style becomes more about
I really appreciated that.
who you are and the way that you communicate and the angle that you have and your writing style. I mean, people do get to see who you are aside from how you look, and I do like that.
I like that a lot too. And actually, A.V. Flox we had as a guest on here a few weeks ago, who's really, that's kind of her. She's created this entire sort of fictional alter ego just from Twitter.
It's not fictional. That's real.
You know what? Like, she is that, and yet she's also creating that as she's living it. I mean, even just
what came first, the chicken or the egg? That's her writing.
She even admitted, like, she'll program tweets to go out like at 3 a.m. to give the illusion that she's up all night every night, but she'll go to sleep. That's what I mean. There is a fictional creating a character there.
I mean, I think maybe to a capacity, but I also think that couldn't. I think that she was like that. She started writing in that context, and then she started tweeting in that context.
That's obviously an aspect of her personality, but sometimes she puts on sweatpants and eats Cheetos and watches TV. Damn it. that happens. I know that happens, and she won't admit it on Twitter, but that is real too.
I can imagine her maybe sitting naked and eating Cheetos.
No, I'm telling you, no. Like, I know there are times when she's not A.V. Flox and not in that persona, and it's just like burping and drinking Mountain Dew, and Judge Judy is on.
I know her personally. I've never seen her like that.
I know her personally.
Have you?
She's very. I've never seen her like that. I would love to. An AV, if you ever have an afternoon like that.
We want to see her.
That would be a great video.
Yeah.
That would be a great parody video to do. But anyway, I think it's all a persona. Personally.
You think it's all a persona?
I think it's definitely an angle of who she is. Of her. Of this. She has this part to play. She has this character. It's based on reality, but it's heightened in the same way that Larry David plays himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm. But it's not really Larry David. It's like heightened, pretend Larry David.
I noticed when she's actually going through something in her life, the tweets do reflect that. She's very. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Fascinating.
It's interesting. Yeah, that's it's like Bob Dylan too. Like there's some times when he's just like hanging out and he's not being Bob Dylan. When he goes out in public, it's like, okay, now it's time to be obscure and weird and be Bob Dylan. Like I have to become an enigma in order to keep the sort of mythology going.
Or maybe he's just eccentric
well, he's definitely eccentric, but sometimes he's just hanging out eating cereal, watching Cartoon Network, scratching his butt. Like everybody does that. You can't live the persona 24/7. Okay, we are way behind. So one question from the chat room before I get into the game, and then we wrap it up. How do you use 4 accounts? What's your strategy there? How do you keep it all straight?
Yeah, I said this when I was on with Sean.
Right.
I just log in and out of Twitter. I know everybody uses all these tools and Hootsuite and Seismic and TweetDeck, and I used to, but it was just like I at a certain point I was just like, forget it. I really, it's not that big of a deal to log out of an account and log back in.
Log out.
But I'm also I don't conversationally tweet from the other accounts.
Right.
So it's easy for me because it's just the RSS gets fed into there.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I'll go in and say something. But usually my conversational tweeting is happening in my personal account. So I'm usually just in one account. But if your browser will save your passwords, you just log in and out. I mean,
yeah, I have a secret second account.
I have a secret fifth account.
And I will. It's a secret. It definitely needs inspiration, though, so I might start following you. And I will screw up every once in a while where I'll forget which one is logged in, and then I'll tweet something, but I'll start following or unfollow. Like I'll follow people, and then I'll realize like, oh no, my other ego is now following this person, and then I get real paranoid, like they're going to figure out who I really am because I don't want everybody to know.
Do you have any indication that it's you?
No, none.
In the profile information?
I'm very careful. I'm very careful.
I think I know this account.
You know the account.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I told you.
Yeah.
I'm very careful in the shadow account not to connect it to, like, I don't even like to follow
tweet
similar
as
people.
Like, what's the context of that account?
It's a character.
Okay.
It's a character.
So it's not like you as a person, your secret account.
No, it's not like Spy. It's not like Spy Lon. It's a total fictional creation of mine. Huh. But it's hard because that's how I do it. I just log in and I only tweet as that person from the web because I don't want to give away anything like using a third-party app or whatever. So it gets very difficult. I have to log out every time so that I don't screw up and follow like some random person I know as this character. They'd be like, "What the hell? Who is this?" So that I don't know. I have a great admiration for your ability to do that because I know I would screw up.
I wish
like
I had a fancy answer for that, but I mean, I used TweetDeck at one point for a while. I tried them all. I've tried them all, and they all have cool. Like I said also in that last episode, Brizzly, if I am going to use one, it's web-based, so it doesn't take up a bunch of resources. I like that. And you can use it from the web, so you can be anywhere and see all your accounts at once. Maybe if I was actively conversationally tweeting from all 4 accounts, I would really probably need a tool.
Yeah. So what's the main idea there behind the 4 accounts? I mean, why split it up?
Because I don't think that everybody there could be people that are interested in following Life on Blast and they want to know when I have a new post, but they don't really care about what I think of, other things or what is personally going on in my life. And I didn't want to do it all in one place. I didn't want to. Yeah, I just wanted to give people the option of if you're just interested in this topic, then you can follow this account, and I will only ever tweet about this topic at this account.
Right.
Out of respect for the people who don't care about me, but like my
Thanks.
content. Yeah.
All right, the game. We're going to go into the celebrity Twitter game.
Celebrity tweets.
Yeah.
Check that out.
You have a star in Hollywood?
That is awesome.
Can I tell people that I know you? Do you mind?
You
have a star in Hollywood.
I do not personally have a star in Hollywood. No, that's a expert Photoshop. I have a team. I have a crack team of digital artists back there who can make anything possible. I used to live right off of the Walk of Fame. Horrible neighborhood. If you're gonna have a star, why would you want it? Like this guy throwing up, urinating on the stars. There was a shooting at the. There's like a Gelson's right across from where I used to live at Vine and Melrose. And it's just like, you're 1 block away from the stars on the street. It's just like, oh, it's so kind of grim in a way to have.
Yeah.
Like, the sidewalk is not the best place to memorialize people. 'Cause it gets crapped up really easily. Anyway, so that's our intro. Here is our celebrity tweet game. I would bear in mind, we can include famous internet people. So it's not necessarily celebrities. It can be.
It's a Twitter celebrity.
It can be a It can be a celebrity, or it can be a celebrity. Either way, one of the two. So keep that in mind. Okay, our first. Now, bear in mind the rules of the game one more time. I will read. I have up to 7 @replies from this week that were sent to a celebrity's Twitter. You all, and in the chat room as well, will give you a chance. Try to guess the celebrity these went out to. Okay, number 1. Can you please shout me out in a tweet? I'm trying to get all the celebs I heart to do it. Oh, please. And that's from @ITweetCelebs. Number 2, why are dogs the cutest? That's GJ Party Drugs. Sent that out. Feel free to jump in if you think you have a guess.
Nice tweet.
Are these all from the same account or different accounts?
These are all different accounts replying to a famous person.
The same famous person.
The same famous
Got
person.
it.
You're
Okay.
trying to guess the famous person. Number 3, will you ever make another men's fragrance? And that's from @RobinHood. Number 4, you're so hot. @Naoto Martin. Number 5, I rocked out to Screwed like 3 times this morning at the gym. That's @YakXEE. Anything? No guesses? Nothing?
no.
Any guesses?
Number 6, we can market online for you new clothing line. That's
Oh, yes. Please sign me
Hardhead
up.
Tech. And then finally, does anyone know if you have a Twitter account? And that's @LightsCamAction.
It sounds like a really bad rapper. Doesn't it?
Someone
guesses?
who
Yeah,
has a
chat
dog.
room.
The only person
Bad rapper with a dog.
Why are dogs the
Paris Hilton?
that would be my guess.
What?
Paris
Really?
Hilton.
Oh,
Mike Bracco gets
nice.
it. Those
Good
were all
job.
tweets that
I
were
wasn't going
sent.
to guess it because she was in the intro.
I know. I didn't know we had the synergy. That was @Paris Hilton. All tweets that went to @Paris Hilton. I love that somebody tweeted Paris Hilton asking if she has a Twitter account. That was so hilarious
Yeah.
to me.
Follow me.
The tweet is literally @Paris Hilton. Does anyone know if you have a Twitter account? I mean, what a genius. Okay, number 2, and I will give the hint. This is a celebrity. This is not a actual famous person. This is a internet famous person. Number 1, congratulations. Your new app looks great. That's @AbeBathish. Number 2, saw the episode when you were in China with that smug Tim Ferriss fella. God, he loves the sound of his own voice. That's @SeanGP. Number 3, sir, I am following to you everywhere. I need one reply. I have not any multiple ID and not business. Why banned me? That's @Rajan
Wow.
Shu. Any guesses yet? I thought that would be kind of a giveaway.
ID and
Why would that be?
I don't know any celebrities.
I'm following you everywhere. I need one reply. I have not any multiple ID. All right. Number 4, that is friggin' epic, dude. @JDavis.
okay. Either is it Kevin Rose or Alex Albright? One of those.
It is, in fact, Kevin Rose.
All right.
You've got
Yeah.
it.
The
Well done.
The Tim
Well
Ferriss.
done.
2 for 2.
Well done.
Jinx.
The
Jinx
next
first.
one was going to be, OMG, that's like announcing that you've just invested in chat roulette. Haha. When he announced he had
I invested in FormSpring. Yes, I did notice that.
So, some of them in the chat room as well guessed
Yeah.
Kevin Rose. Well done. I used to do another game where I would just have 7 tweets and then you'd have to guess what the hashtag on all of the tweets was, but it was way too hard. Nobody would
That's hard.
ever get it.
'Cause hashtag could be
we switched.
anything.
'Cause, well, usually it's like, you know you a broke ass when or something, and no, those are too hard. So I guess that wraps it up for this week. Definitely like to thank Mastin Kipp, our guest, for being with us at The Daily Love.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure.
At The Daily Love to go check out. Do you have your own? You have your own
Yeah,
Twitter
it's
feed.
@Mastin Kipp.
At Mastin Kipp and at
Yeah.
The Daily Love. We'll put them both in the chat room so you guys can find him. great guest. Really interesting discussion today. Took in on a lot of different angles. Thanks, as always, to our co-host, Alana Joy, to newsman Mike Bracco. My name is Lon Harris. We will see you next time on This Week in Twitter.